Hello, public opinion aficionados, and welcome to Rasmussen Reports, the independent pollster who is not only polling like 10 times more than any individual pollster right now, we're also doing the extremely important public opinion work. In my view, the number one thing that pollsters should be doing, understanding the actual state of voters' psyches in America. And I'll tell you, we're not in a good place. There are some voters right now who are absolutely insane. And what we're going to look at is I finally had the time to put the 10 state polls we did together to create a very rich set of combined crosstabs. And we're going to look at what is driving people's opinions, why over and over again, voters side with Donald Trump on the issues, and yet the race continues to be deadlocked. And if you want to know fundamentally what it comes down to, here's a hint. 60% of voters in America say that the media is the enemy of the people. And also at the end of the video, hold on, we're going to look at the latest overnight numbers and the state of the race. But before we get at it, I wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsors, the legendary conservative blog, American Thinker. There's some really weighty stuff they put out, but I like the light stuff. Redefining Masculinity, Kamala Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff, accused of slapping a woman so hard at a Harvey Weinstein event that she spun around. I love it how the feminized mainstream media loves to attack masculinity, but really, I mean, come on. But anyways, go to their site, please sign up for their mailing list, give them a follow. We would really appreciate it. And so would they. Here are the crosstabs. Over 10,000 respondents from not just the 6 battleground states, but also Minnesota, New Mexico, what else did we do? North Carolina and Virginia. Now, I will also state on the balance, the battlegrounds are very deadlocked, but we threw Minnesota and New Mexico in here, which lean left. So overall, what you're looking at is a set of crosstabs that is going to probably be a little bit left of center. And I set it up a little bit different than normal. So that we can look at the media aspect. We asked 2 questions. Who do you trust more for your political news? Major cable news channels, network TV news, or independent online sources? And which cable TV news channel would you be most likely to trust? CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, or Newsmax? In the first issue question, it's kind of fascinating. Almost everybody says the economy across major cable news channels because this rolls up both MSNBC and Fox News. The network people, especially the independent online sources people, and there isn't really that much difference by channel either, but this is going to change drastically. With CNN, it's economy 29%, abortion 21%, climate change, violent crime 3rd and 4th. Not many people care about the borders. MSNBC, it's abortion 1st, economy 2nd. It's flipped. Right there, it can tell you, CNN is trying to return to a balanced hard news perspective. I don't think they've been very successful, but they've certainly been more successful for MSNBC. And automatically, you can see them cultivating a very different issue set. That's not the case for Fox News and Newsmax. I think we can all consider Newsmax to be more conservative than Fox News. Fox News, its economy, and then border security, it's roughly tied among Newsmax viewers. So not a huge difference there. But this is where we're going to see more of a difference. Which issue is the most important one for the next president to solve? Abortion rights, illegal immigration, rising prices, or protecting our democracy? And among all voters, illegal immigration and rising prices win, roughly tied, followed by protecting our democracy and abortion rights, which only get 40% of the electorate. And again, not a huge difference. People who watch cable news channel more likely to be informed about illegal immigration. Those who watch network TV news aren't really seeing that. But overwhelmingly, people who get their news from independent online sources say illegal immigration is the number one issue, followed by prices. So 69% for those people, but only 54% for cable TV news channel folks. And people who go to the internet for news care 10 points less about protecting democracy. But here's where it gets absolutely nutso. In all of these 10 states combined, people who watch MSNBC say protecting democracy is by far the number one issue, 46% of them, followed by 28% abortion. What does that add up to? I mean, that's a big number, 74%. But among Fox News viewers, it's 81%, and Newsmax, 86% of people who are focused on illegal immigration and rising prices. CNN is much more muted, but 62% of them say abortion and protecting our democracy, although only 32% say protecting our democracy. Here's what blows my mind. And just so you know, in our view, humans have biases, but polling should not. I do everything I can to make my polls straightforward, not push polls. We do, in my opinion, a really good job of making sure the questions are in a good order and worded in a very straight manner. This is not a trick question. And I'm going to make an objective take that is not a politicized statement. Objectively, I think we can agree that illegal immigration and rising prices are two topics that voters are concerned about because, in their view, the Biden administration helped cause more of an issue and they want it corrected. However, protecting our democracy since Trump was in office and left is kind of a canard. It's kind of a fear bait. And abortion is now an issue controlled by the states. And if Donald Trump was elected, he's very limited in what he could do, even if he wanted to legislatively. So in my opinion, the top two issues, especially among MSNBC viewers, are things that they're being irrationally told Donald Trump may take from them. That's kind of crazy. All right, next question. I didn't really cover this much in the other videos, but how likely are you to vote in the 2024 general election in November? And I just thought there was a really fascinating signal here with the news viewers. So people who watch network news are much less likely than anyone else to say they're very likely to vote. This might look like, single digits number, but it's a really big difference. And when you look out here, this is also fascinating too. CNN watchers and Fox News watchers are less likely to vote than MSNBC and Newsmax people. The Newsmax people are most politically engaged. Why do 11% of Fox News watchers say that they're somewhat likely to vote this time out? I think that's a really good question. And we also have this data by state, which is pretty fascinating too. Georgia, only 85% say that it's like a really hotly contested battleground state. You'd think that the number would be higher. Who's doing best here? Virginia, Minnesota, more left-leaning state. If people want to look, they could look at my Minnesota crosstabs and look by party who's more likely to say very likely to vote. That might show you some interesting information about who's going to turn out. North Carolina, 84%. Why isn't it higher? Now, generic ballot, Republicans win by one here, but it's just a random selection of 10 states. But here are the numbers by channel. And Fox News has 17% of its viewers say they're going to vote Democrat. Pretty weird. But 17% of CNN watchers are going to vote Republican. And 11%, of MSNBC. It's like those Joe Scarborough Republicans, I guess. But here are the matchup numbers. And people who this is fascinating. People who get their news from independent online sources go Trump 63% to 32%. Cable news goes Harris by a really big 8-point margin. And network TV people go Harris 68% to 29%. This is, I guess, like the establishment or normies or unity folks, or I don't know. And like these people, they don't trust any news. Trump 60 to Harris 36. CNN and Fox News are at about rough parity. 80% of CNN viewers vote Harris. But MSNBC, really, it's the Newsmax folks who are most ideologically pure here. 92% go Trump, but 90% of MSNBC viewers go Harris. Let's just take a quick stop out here because I'm interested in the religion signal. I've been cherry picking some of this data to put in my individual state videos, but here it is. Evangelical voters in these states go Trump 66% to 31%. But the Protestant vote only goes Trump by 4 points, less than the Catholic vote. This is actually a pretty good sized Jewish sample, too. It's going Harris by 16. And the Muslim numbers, this is tighter than the black vote, 61% to 35%. And atheists overwhelmingly go to Harris, 78% to 20%. People who rarely or never go to church go Harris, 57 to 39. And everybody else goes Trump. The more religious you are, the more Trumpy you are. And also, I think people might be interested in the race numbers here. White, Trump by 10. Black, this is actually really low black number for Trump, lower than the national figures. Black voters go Harris 74 to 22. Hispanic voters roughly tied, 2-point edge to Trump. Fascinating. Now we're going to skip favorability. I mean, the numbers are all just basically a wash. Although I will say that Republicans are viewed 2 points less favorably than Trump, but almost 10 points, more than 10 points, 11 points less very favorably viewed than Trump. And compared to Harris, the Democrats do a little bit better, but not much. These people are here to vote for Harris. Stunning and brave. Which of the two candidates, in your view, has a better character, Kamala Harris or Donald Trump? And again, to the media figures, people who are tapped into online sources, independent sources, say Trump has the better character, 59 to 34%. Network TV news people, I guess the people watching Saturday Night Live and all of the night shows, like late night shows, Harris 69% to Trump 28%. And I mean, like, you know, this here makes sense. This is in line with the matchup numbers. Let's check religion here too. It's close to character, right? Evangelical Christians, everybody says, how can you support Trump and be a Christian? Well, evangelicals say that Trump has better character, 63% to 32%, although Protestants, it's a tie. Fascinating. Atheists think Harris has a better character, 77% to 19%. And the numbers among Muslim voters are tighter here, but the Jewish numbers are wider. That's crazy. I don't know what's going on there. Love your theories in the comments. But here, again, to reinforce the insanity, from which political party is the biggest threat of dictatorship or tyranny coming from? The Democrats or Republicans? And it's tied. It's absolutely tied. But people who say independent online sources say Democrats, 60 to 34%. But the cable news people are tied. And the network news people think Republicans, 65% to 29%. This is literally, you know, you look here and you say, all right, MSNBC Republicans, 81%, Newsmax, Democrats, 87%. So you can say that each of these individual media brands is cultivating a viewership that is creating a boogeyman, maybe to drive engagement or for whatever reason. But the people who rely on independent online sources, who are ostensibly looking for sources in which they trust, say the Democrats, 60 to 34%. I think this is profound. Now, I'll just hit the top lines here, but it's good to see the combined 10-state number here. These states will decide the election, and only 37% of voters in these states say they're better off than they were 4 years ago. Only 22% say today's children will be better off than their parents. The age number, 18 to 29-year-olds, only 34% of 18 to 29-year-olds in this state say they'll be better off than their parents. You know, you can pause this and look at all the individual states to see who has it worse off. It looks like Arizona. That's really low number. Crazy. 17% of Arizona voters. Is America safer than it was 4 years ago? Only 27% of voters in these states say yes. Horrifying. But luckily, 59% of MSNBC voters say, yeah, sure. Of course it is. Joe Biden's done a great job. Newsmax people, 94% say no. Who is the biggest enemy America currently faces? Iran, China, Russia, the Democrat Party, the Republican Party, or domestic extremists? This is going to be interesting. Among all voters in the states, Democrat, 24%, China, 20%, Republican Party, 18%. The network news TV people, 24% Republican, but it's, you know, it's not a huge signal. Independent online sources, 34% Democrat. But the cable news people are awash. That's because there's MSNBC and Fox News. But this is crazy. 43% of MSNBC viewers say Republican Party, 23% say domestic extremists. Obviously, they mean MAGA types. That's 2/3 of MSNBC watchers. Only 13% of them say Russia and 9% China. Only 4% of them say Iran. Fox News, 36% Democrat Party, 28% China. At least they think that there's some foreign enemies a little bit. That's 64%, almost up to the MSNBC 2/3. And, Russia and Iran follow along distantly. Newsmax viewers, 56% of Newsmax viewers say the Democrat Party is the biggest enemy facing America. And none of these people are concerned about domestic extremists since, there are literally paid Antifa domestic extremists. But Fox News and Newsmax don't think that they are America's biggest enemies. And the China signal is really high here. That's the biggest foreign adversary signal in any of these crosstabs. These news outlets are helping Americans come to conclusions about who our enemies are. And for a startlingly high number of Americans, the answer is one of our own political parties. Let's look at this. If given a choice between two candidates, one of whom favored granting amnesty to all illegal aliens and one whom favored deporting all illegal aliens, who would you vote for? And among all voters in these 10 states, deportation candidate wins 49-33, but 68% of MSNBC viewers want an all amnesty candidate, and 92% of Newsmax viewers want an all deportation candidate. That's wow. 75% of 75% of Fox News viewers want an all deportation candidate. Woof. On the question of illegal immigration, is the government doing too much or too little to reduce illegal border crossings and visitor overstays? 61% too little, 10% too much. Interestingly, everybody acknowledges the government is doing too little more than too much, even MSNBC people. And only 44% of MSNBC people say it's about right. So listen, they know the government is letting in illegal aliens. They acknowledge if it wanted to stop them, it should do more. A lot of them do. But only a single-digit number of them care about it as an issue. And irregardless of what her policies are, they trust Harris more. 80% of MSNBC viewers trust Harris more on the border, but 83% of Fox News watchers and 95% of Newsmax watchers say Trump. Come on, I know this is getting long, but there's just so many good ones. Recent federal blah, blah, blah. What is the closest to the number of new legal immigrants the government should be adding each year? The current level is 1 million. And among these voters in these 10 states, a majority of them say a number lower than the current level. And only 10% of them say a number higher than the current level. 11% it rounds up. And let's just see, right? These people would overwhelmingly support an amnesty candidate that would grant amnesty to all illegal aliens. But when considering legal immigration, there's a little bit of hypocrisy here. 33% of MSNBC viewers want a level of legal immigration less than it is now. The current level or lower, it's 63% of them. Only 16% of MSNBC viewers who want a 100% amnesty candidate want more legal immigration. Astounding. And 34% and 41% of Fox News and Newsmax viewers want literally zero, no new immigrants, period. What a difference. People often appeal to religion when talking about legal immigration. Let's take a look at that here too. Evangelical Christians, a majority of them, 61%, want a level of immigration lower than it is now. Really, nobody here wants more immigration than we have. Like very liberal people, it's only 24%. This might be because of the economy. I mean, it's a very clear question. I don't think they misunderstood it. Look, I could skip ahead. We got energy policy. We got, oh, I have to do this. When considering gender and sexual identity issues, which candidates' values are closer to your own? Harris and Trump are roughly tied. Okay, good. MSNBC viewers, Harris 87 to 9. Fox News, Trump 76 to 19. Newsmax 90 to 6. I think one of the most fascinating things here is that Fox News is not ideologically pure, at least anymore. As much as I would say CNN is left leaning with a little bit of objective thinking and open mindedness sprinkled in, Fox News is the exact opposite. And you're kind of seeing the same thing here. Pretty wild. But in this question, do you agree with this statement or not? There are only two genders. And we got a vast majority of voters in these 10 states agreeing, 71%, even a majority strongly agree, 54%. And across the board, everybody agrees. That's wild. So CNN viewers say that Harris's views on gender identity most closely represent them, but then a majority of them, 59%, go on to say they agree there are only two genders. For people who are watching a channel to be like more informed, don't you think that's kind of like uninformed? And MSNBC viewers say Harris 87 to 9, but still 42% of them agree there's only two genders. And, Fox News and Newsmax people overwhelmingly agree. Obviously, look at that. 94% of Newsmax viewers. And do you support or oppose gender transition therapy, hormone replacement therapy, gender reassignment therapy for minors? And a majority of people in this state oppose it, 62% of them. But only 33% of MSNBC viewers. But here, you're not getting a huge level of support. They just kind of like noped out of it. Only 19% of MSNBC viewers strongly support that. But here's the thing about the left. This is part of the left's core belief systems, their core value set. Transing the kids and more than two genders. But here's the thing. Not even the most sycophantic adherents on MSNBC who thinks the orange man is going to take their democracy away really go for that stuff. Only 24% of them strongly disagree there's only two genders, and only 19% strongly support transing the kids, MSNBC viewers. That's, really crazy. This is how radicals get made. They're pounded with an issue over and over again. They're kept coming back to their channel. They're driven by fear, and the values being preached don't even match really the values of the people watching the channel. And here I put this in here just so you can see the breakdown. Most people in these states are going to independent online sources, 31%. Network TV watchers, only like 24% of the state. And in these states, Fox News actually wins 29%, 23% CNN, 17% MSNBC. But a pretty large number of people say Newsmax, 12%. Maybe that's part or brand recognition. I don't know. Or maybe Newsmax has just done a really good job catching up to Fox News. But again, if you have any strong opinions or stuff I missed, post them in the YouTube comments or hit me up on Twitter at Mark_R_Mitchell. Each of these individual state crosstabs are out there. So if you live in one, I'd love you to take a look and give me your opinions about whether it matches what you see or not. I'm trying my best to get this combined set of crosstabs up as well, because I want everybody to be able to get it. When it comes out, it'll be at rasmussenreports.com, or follow our main Twitter account at Rasmussen_poll. And I almost forgot that I promised to do a state of the race. I know this video is getting pretty long here. Here are the national Real Clear Politics numbers. We're still at Trump +2. They have Harris at 2.2, still not yet at where Clinton was. And this 2.2 number for her is being driven by all of the same people who are perennially left-leaning. Morning Consult, Susquehanna out of nowhere at Harris +5. But Reuters, Ipsos, CBS, NBC, if you really drop these people out, I mean, it's at tied to Trump up. We have Trump up. Quinnipiac's got the race at tie. New York Times Siena, 538's number one pollster, has the race at tie. I think the polling still leans left. I still think Trump has a really great shot at winning the national popular vote. And obviously, Clinton did not by a few points. But the race comes down to Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania is a tie in the aggregate. And that's with like Bloomberg showing Harris +5. I really do think Trump is up in Pennsylvania. And what's crazy is Polymarket. People have talked a lot about Polymarket, and some people say it's accurate, some people say it's not. Listen, it's an open market where people can make bets, but people, since it's a thinly traded market with deep pockets, can control the market by making large bets. And I kind of think that's what we've been seeing, because in all the stuff that's been happening in the race in the last couple of months, these numbers haven't moved at all. And it's still pretty much locked in at, Trump did a little bit better after last night, Harris a little bit worse. But I mean, these numbers haven't moved at all. But here's the thing about manipulating markets. Somebody ultimately has to be right. And it looks like this market was held steady for days and days and days at Waltz winning the debate by over 70%. And I don't know if this was real trading action, or I don't know if somebody who was a whale just kept putting a Waltz buy on every time it dipped a little bit. But all of a sudden during the debate, the market crashed and went ultimately south. And I don't even think the poll that they're talking about that decides this bet is even out yet. So that's the thing about these prediction markets, is they don't always predict the truth until like potentially 5 minutes before it actually happens. And so that's why I've been watching this. This is Pennsylvania's Polymarket's number. And Pennsylvania has also been locked in this really tight, 1 or 2 point range. Again, I don't know if it's complacency or very active trading by people with deep pockets. But if you look at the one-day numbers, I'm sorry, I clicked on Democrat here, so a lower number is more Trumpy. This was really locked in for, a long time, kind of at 51% Democrat. And last night shook the market. And it looks like maybe this is a little transient blip. But I guess my point is, at some point, this market is going to break. At some point, it's going to revert. And this is the one, again, that in my opinion, the polling makes a really strong case for, that Trump is winning Pennsylvania, and almost all of the electoral paths for Harris hinge on Pennsylvania. So if Polymarkets breaks, even though I don't even think this counts for much, it's going to fuel the narrative that Harris is losing. And I don't even think the stuff that's happening over the next couple of weeks is going to be favorable for her. We have that longshoreman strike now. We have increased tensions in the Middle East. Overwhelmingly, everybody says that the Middle East is a crisis, and they don't rate Biden very highly on his handling of it. And she underperforms on national security compared to Biden. It is not set up to be a good October for her. But as of now, the overnight numbers have kind of sort of settled down. The last 2 nights in a row, including last night, was Trump +3. This is not an error. Trump had 2 +3s in a row, a tied night and a +4. So this week, we're going to see, 2 3s in there and then whatever else. But it looks like we're talking still about a Trump +2, Trump +3 lead, which is a national popular vote win. And again, he doesn't need to win the national popular vote. The point is, it's just colossally better for him than anybody's done in the past. But even now, look at this. So with a tie, understand that Clinton was up 2.4 points at this point in the polls in Pennsylvania, but Trump won by almost a point. So the polling had a 3-point left error. And Biden won by, over a point, I think. So that's like also a 6-ish point Biden error. And so after looking at this, you have to say, well, it's reasonable to expect there's still some left-leaning error, and Trump is up. It looks like he's winning the race pretty solidly. It all comes down to, I guess, the pipe bursts. So sorry for going so long. I tell everybody I like to keep these short, but I hope it was packed full of information that explains to you the state of America right now. And keep in mind, a higher number than ever before, 41% of U.S. likely voters think a civil war is likely in the next 5 years, and that 60% of voters say the media is the enemy of the people. I hope these numbers have backed up my assertion that the media is causing the huge divide that we have in America. If you think so too, please share this with everybody you can. I'd really appreciate it. Like the video and subscribe so more people see it, and thanks for watching.